What if the biggest financial risk after 50 isn't a layoff? It's actually going back to work. Have you done the math? I thought working part-time for 5,200 a month was smart. It turns out that it cost me 32,000 a year just to show up. I didn't believe it either until I ran the numbers. If you're over 50 and you got laid off, or you're watching it happen to people around you and wondering if you're next, you've probably done some version of this math. Can I afford to stop? What do I actually need to live? And if I went back to work, what would I really keep after taxes and gas and everything else that it costs just to show up? Most people never run those numbers. They just assume working is better than not working because that's what you're supposed to do. I ran the numbers, and what I found genuinely shocked me, and I think it's going to surprise you too. Hi, I'm Carrie. I got laid off at 54, and today I'm opening up my books, the real income, real bills, and the math that changed how I think about whether I can afford to retire right now, including the one number that I did not see coming. So stick with me. I want to be upfront with you about something before I get into the numbers. There is a reason that I'm seriously thinking about this instead of just aggressively job hunting. My mother died of breast cancer at 55. My dad made it to 62. I turned 55 in 4 months. I'm not saying I'm going to die young. I don't know that. Nobody does. But I'll tell you one thing, I definitely get my mammograms. But when you watch your parents not make it to traditional retirement age, it changes how you think about the word later. There isn't always a later, and that's really been weighing on me lately. So yeah, I'm doing this math with intention because if the numbers work, I want to know. And if they don't, I want to know that too. So let me walk you through our real monthly bills. This is not a fantasy budget. This is our actual numbers. So property taxes run us $570 a month. Homeowners insurance is $92. Vehicle insurance, $121. Health insurance, this surprises a lot of people, $25 a month. And that's just dental for me. Jeff's dental is covered through the VA, and both of our medical insurance is free through his disability benefits. Phone for both of us is $45, internet is $80, and our electric averages about $185 per month. So that is it. That is literally every bill we have. We have no mortgage, we have no car payments, we have no debt of any kind. So that's total fixed monthly expenses of $1,118 a month. That's $1,118 a month to keep the lights on and the roof over our heads. Jeff receives VA disability every month at $4,158, and that's our baseline. That's what we can live on regardless of what I do or I don't do. So $4,158 coming in, $1,118 in fixed bills. That leaves $3,040 every single month for food and gas and household supplies and whatever we need before I earn even a single dollar. Now, I want to be clear, we're not wealthy. We do live simply and intentionally, and that $3,040 doesn't mean we're rolling in money. It means that our life doesn't cost very much. Those are different things, but it does mean that we have a solid foundation. Jeff is also about a year and a half from being able to take Social Security. When that kicks in, the baseline will get even stronger. I'm about 8 years from that myself. That's a long runway, but it'll get here. And here's the number that shocked me, and I think it's going to surprise you too. When I was working, I was bringing in about $5,200 a month part-time, and by any measure, that is good money. Honestly, working part-time, I was already semi-retired, but I was still tied to a weekly schedule. But here's what I wasn't fully calculating. I drove about 380 miles a week just to do that job. That's driving into town and around town for whatever needed doing. I actually got used to that drive. I would put on a podcast on that long haul, and honestly, on a clear day, the mountain views are amazing. Any day you get to see mountains is a good day. I told myself it wasn't really so bad. But here's the thing. I had to drive into town recently for a doctor's appointment, and I clustered it with donating blood, picking up groceries to make it worth the trip. And I genuinely did not want to get in that car. The mountains were still there. The drive was still beautiful, but something has changed now that I'm not doing it every week. And I realized I had just gotten used to doing it. And that's not the same as it being fine. So the IRS mileage rate accounts for fuel, wear and tear on the car, maintenance, depreciation. And at 380 miles a week, that's a little over $1,100 a month in true vehicle costs. And I was eating on the road probably about $30 a week, which added another $120 a month. Then, of course, there's the tax piece, federal, state, Social Security, Medicare on the income, roughly 20% of my earnings given our overall situation. And on 5,200, that's about 1,040 a month going toward those income taxes. But here's the one that really got me. When I'm not working, our disposable income drops low enough that we qualify for our state's property tax exemption. Our property taxes drop from $6,850 a year to $2,150. That's $4,700 a year or $392 a month. That's money I don't have to pay when I'm not working. That means the first $4,700 I earn in a year goes directly to the government in property taxes that I wouldn't otherwise owe before I pay a single dollar of income tax. So let's add all of that up. Vehicle costs, food on the road, taxes, property tax increase, and the true cost of me working was about $2,652 a month. That's nearly $32,000 a year just to show up. And if I take that out of that 5,200 gross, and my actual take home, what I really keep was about $2,548 a month. That works out to a true hourly net rate of about $31.85 an hour. And remember, that was a part-time job, lots of driving, and no benefits. So not $65 an hour, $31.85 after you account for everything it actually costs to earn it. And I'm not saying that's nothing. $32 an hour is real money, but it's not the same number as was on my paycheck. And most people never do that math. So our fixed bills are $11.18 a month if I go back to work, but that property tax exemption drops our fixed bills to $726 per month if I don't work. $726. Our income is $41.58 a month, and that's a surplus of $3,432 every single month before I work a single hour. That's enough to cover food, gas, household needs, and still leave some room for some fun as well as the unexpected. We live simply. We know how to live simply. This isn't a hardship for us. We just have a different relationship with money than most people have. So could we do better with my income? Of course. Could we travel more, upgrade things, build savings faster? Yeah, I'm not pretending there's no difference. But the question I asked was, can we afford for me not to work? And the honest answer is yes, we can. And I think what I'm thinking now is that I can't afford just to take any job, just to have a job. Working 3 to 5 days a week, it's something I don't really want to do, driving hours every day, grinding through my 55th year of life because that's what you're supposed to do. My mom didn't get a 55th year. I'm not saying I'll never work again. I might find something part-time or something local that makes sense for me. I might build this channel into something that actually contributes. There are options. But I'm done doing math that pretends $65 an hour is actually $65 an hour when it isn't. And I'm done making decisions about my time based on a gross number that has nothing to do with what I actually keep. And I'm certainly not telling you to quit your job. I'm not saying everyone can do this. Our situation is very specific to us. Our paid off house matters enormously, and Jeff's benefits matter enormously. Years of intentional financial decisions and some really hard work made all this possible. But I am saying, do your math, the real math, not the gross income math. What does it actually cost you to work? Gas, childcare, work clothes, meals out, the convenience spending that happens because you're just too tired and don't have time to cook at the end of the day? What do you actually keep? And what does your life really cost? Not the life you think you need, the life you actually live. For a lot of people, those two numbers are closer together than they realize. And sometimes the gap between them is smaller than the cost of staying in a job you don't really want. I'm not done figuring this out. 4 months from 55 and I'm still doing the math, but at least I'm doing the right math now. Drop a comment below and tell me, have you ever actually calculated your true hourly rate after all the costs? I think a lot of people are going to be surprised by that number. And if these real talk conversations are useful, subscribe and turn on notifications. Thanks for being here today. Take care of yourselves out there. Bye for now.